and these teams are playing that mirror match GOATS composition with the Zenyatta. So what's the thought process with that Zenyatta?
Astute observation. Yes, this is a mirror goats comp. So with the Zen, you have, of course, the ability to have a trance. So that's going to be crucial to counter ultimates like your Grav, like your Earth Shatter. But more importantly, with that Discord Orb, it gives your team the ability to focus and burn down the tanks. And right away, we see Progi with that purple balloon floating over his head. That means he can't go in aggressively. He has to shield up.
Interesting rotation from the side effects going out over towards the elephant, but Out of My Game have the point presence right now. They've taken control, and I love what Progi's doing here, playing this corner extremely well. And look at the rotation here from Cass, right? Or the positioning rather. He's moving around, staying alive, and Boger will be the first one to fall. And man, with your Reinhardt out of that GOATS composition so quickly, it's so hard to come back, and you're gonna see side effects just kind of crumble.
It's almost impossible without that main tank. Even if your Brigida stays up, she's kind of like a mini Rhine, but it's not the same, right? Exactly. And now, Out of My Game, not only do they have that first capture, so they're going to be ticking up in percentage, but they're going to have an ultimate advantage as well. Way Fast and Frost really close in that Grav charge, but you take a look at those Reinhardts, and Progi has more than lapped Boger right now. So Out of My Game have tons of tools to continue to hold this. They can use whatever they want.
Exactly. There's so many options for Out of My Game, and they're going to start it off with the rally here. Frost, you see him getting a little bit of energy to start things off. No real ultimates thrown out beyond the rallies from both of these teams, and there's the Shatter. There, of course, is the Transcendence from Sabs to counteract it, so there won't be enough follow-up there for Out of My Game to decisively win this team fight. But now, there is nothing to counteract the Graviton Surge of Way Fast here, but first, Out of My Game has got to deal with the Grab Bomb combo, which they do quite nicely there, just blocking it. Boger with the Shatter, knocking a few people down, and Way Fast will be the crucial Zarya to be picked off. No bubbles for Out of My Game. There's so much damage mitigation and utility lost from that, as well as damage. You're looking at Frost right now. The impact he's putting in at high charge is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, not just Frost, but Sob as well. We mentioned earlier before the game that you got to keep an eye on Spoxes, but Sob on this Zenyatta is a real fragger as well. He's putting in all of that damage when, you know, you're running that GOATS composition, and damage is sometimes really hard to come by. So Out of My Game, they gave that up. They invested that trans, so not too heavy of a loss right there. They're still coming in with, you know, tons of tools. You could see Twals come in with an opening Diva Bomb. This is a guy that gets tons of kills, even with that bomb unassisted.
Cass no, he actually does go down. Kov chasing that kill and finding that with the boop, and with no Zenyatta Out of My Game, they cannot build up that Transcendence. Sab's gonna pop his there, and hopefully he can build up as much as he possibly can in these last few moments of the fight. Unfortunately, he won't only get about 8%. So Out of My Game will have the Transcendence advantage going into this next fight.
And that's a major advantage, because these days with that Mirror Goats composition, it really is a chess game of ultimates, right? And your support ultimates are kind of your queens, the most valuable pieces there. And side effects, you know, they're really close to catching up to Out of My Game's point percentage. If Boger can get a really good Shatter, again, a great boop displacing Boger.
Kov doing such a great job of displacing Out of My Game and forcing them to take the engagement where they don't want to by walking up Main Street right into the waiting arms of side effects, but the bombs tossed in from both teams will not find anything for the time being. Usually you want to combo those with the Graviton Surge, but of course neither team has that, and side effects has now overtaken the Out of My Game in terms of that ultimate percentage. Watch Boger playing this corner. Is going to be looking for the Shatter onto Progi here.
He's searching and just swinging that corner, apparently invented by Fraggy, so I've heard, but he doesn't want to put any more shield pressure.
And he knocks down 3. Cass, though, will be able to stay alive, and staying alive with that Transcendence is the key part here. Watch Way Fast building that up, and Boger plays a little bit too aggressive and walks right into the hammer of Progi, but not before getting the kill on to Olu there. So about 5v5 right now, but again, no Reinhardt, but Olu, without him, they do lose that armor pack. Now Graviton Surge tossed in. Way Fast able to secure 1 kill before Sap's Transcendence comes out. 99% on the point for the side effects. There will be the flipper Out of My Game, but you might see side effects coming with a quick re-engage.
Yeah, great sound barrier from Chalky Milk right there, tempoing that fight when side effects thought they had won it, or they were going to be able to hold on. Chalky Milk throws that down, gives Out of My Game their second wind, and with it they recap. The side effects here now, they only need one more clean wipe, and with Frost's grab, they have all of the tools. Cass has that trance on hand, but that actually hasn't been as large of a decider as it has been in the past.
interestingly enough, and you see Progi again playing the Shatter much like Boger was. Both these teams love playing the Reinhardt corners, but because of the value it gives you, Progi might want to use the Shatter here to counteract that, but no, they're just going to use the Transcend as Progi tosses it down, does find Spokes, but that's about it, and in comes the bomb from Mede there. Will not find anything. Boger tosses down a Shatter of his own, and again, no value from it. Both these teams just tossing a lot of resources in, but can't find value with it. Now you're seeing Boger, they're dropped a little bit low, but Progi gets the shield bash and goes down. Side effects looking to take this. They've already got the man advantage with 2 of the main tanks down, and Cass looking to just be melted down in the back line by Frost here, finished off by Cobb. And there will be the recap, the flip coming in for the side effects as soon as they clear off the rest of these pesky little members of Out of My Game, and they will take the map.
Ooh, and what a way to start things off, side effects. You know, again, if you just look at the pure numbers, this team seems like, you know, they're totally out of their game, out of their league, but they always keep things interesting and they take that early round win. Out of My Game, you know, maybe kind of trying to overwhelm side effects with pure numbers rather than, you know, calculated ultimate usage. As we saw, everybody on that team seemed to be just smashing their ults, and Twalls got a little bit out of position right there, forced to use his self-destruct really early, and you know, even though Out of My Game are ahead of side effects and seem to be, you know, the more dominant team, they can't be giving up those small mistakes because side effects, as we've seen, are going to be able to take advantage.
All right, moving into Village here. Sombra out from Itahan here in the solo tank for the side effects of that Hammond.
This is all about disruption. Between Frost and Spox is Out of My Game going to have a hard time protecting their backline, but looks like some more swaps coming through, and Out of My Game, they're going to go all the way back to spawn. They don't want to just take any fight. They want to take the absolute best fight possible, and it's well worth giving up that first point cap to side effects, but that does mean they're very far behind in ultimate charge, especially in terms of that DPS ultimate charge as Spox is raining down those rockets. However, Boger does go down almost immediately.
Right, Olu notices there is no Brigitte on the side of the side effects, so he just goes, hey, maybe I'll play Tracer, moves in. However, this does get that 1 kill into Cass, but it will not be enough. Tools fragging out, finds 3 in 1 fight, goodness gracious.
Doesn't need a bomb to find those frags. Exactly. And Out of My Game, Olu looks like he's going to be blinking his way back into spawn. Yet another swap up. I really like, you know, this kind of counterplay between these two teams. Side effects immediately give up that Pharah. They know it's going to be super difficult to try and engage on the point with her, so they're going to go for the ghost, play the long game.
Progi, they're unfortunate there. And again, this is the thing. Side effects wins that fight on composition alone. Progi tries to do anything. He's just going to get stunned by Spokes there and then just focused down by the burst of goats. So you see Progi's immediately going to swap over to the Reinhardt because that's what you need to play in this mirror. But I'd like to see Wayfast stay on the Sombra. He's got the EMP.
Yeah, it's at least worth a go here because you really need ultimates to be able to break onto the point, and EMP is a great neutralizer, right? You turn off all of the lights, take away all of side effects abilities, and they rely on that because they're not really going to have any ultimates except this trance coming
here we go. And let's see if Wayfast can indeed turn out the lights. Going to be detected for a brief moment there and popped out of invisibility. And he's looking for the flank on the backside here. And he takes down 5 members. Sab able to avoid it. Pops a Transcendence, but it is not enough to save Boger. It is enough to save the rest of his members. But already when you've lost your main tank, we talked about this before. Side effects at the big disadvantage. They will get the refrag though onto Olu. But now in come the kills. In comes the damage for Out of My Game. Look at Twolz on a killing spree.
Out of My Game. Don't need no diva. They don't need that damage mitigation. They just try and put in more damage themselves. And now they're going to have the tools to be able to continue to hold side effects here if they can just rotate these ultimates very intelligently. You have the Shatter coming up. You have the Trance, of course, always in your back pocket. And Twal's very close to the grab as well. So side effects have to be keeping those in mind as they try and make their way onto the objective. It's going to be a very long battle coming up.
Big hack there onto the Diva, denying that defense matrix there. And Medahan, of course, can't use the boosters or the micro missiles either, which are so crucial and part of Diva's kit. Oh, big Shatter comes in from Progi, knocking 3 members down. Frost pinned to the wall with that charge, and the Zarya of the side effects will be gone. Soon to follow, of course, is their Ryan. And again, side effects crumbles once they lose those crucial members.
A little bit unfortunate right there. You saw Booger's position. He was trying to avoid what he knew was coming, but unfortunately the rest of his team fell prey to that Earth Shatter. And out of my game, they used a single ultimate right there to hold side effects at bay. They still have 5 more, and there's no more time for side effects to wait. Out of my game is already at 90%.
Oh, it's the full 6-man, and Sab, you got no choice, buddy. You're just gonna die. You only got 50 HP, and Way Fast is there with a machine gun, putting it right to the back of your Omnic head. I'm so sorry, but side effects, this is not your map. Out of my game, we'll take it 100 to 52. Taking it back after dropping that first one, so it's gonna come down to Sanctum.
This, though, Sanctum is a map type where, again, you can kind of see underdog teams come through with maybe some unique compositions or working that early point capture advantage. But out of my game, you know, it is 2:46 in the AM over here in the States. And out of my game, they, you know, yeah, it is late for us, but out of my game, they just woke up. They're getting even more fresh. They're getting more warmed up. And I think they're really ready to play now.
Yeah.
So coming out, really curious if it's going to be the Roadhog Orisa look, because
I hope so.
As we all know, due to our dear and near ZP, there is some Mondada's gold at the bottom of the pit, and oftentimes I'm guessing that's what people are searching for when they get thrown down in there. So out of my game, they have a lot of options here to disrupt side effects.
Oh no! Hey, he's looking for the gold.
Yeah,
maybe he'll strike it this time. But out of my game here, right? Like you said, they just woke up. They want some breakfast, so they're eating some pulled pork, right? But now they're just gonna swap back off of that. They do not like pulled pork. Apparently, they realize, you know, that's probably actually something that's more of a lunch or dinner, not really a breakfast.
Well, it's a wise move to swap off of the Orisa. She does have a great strong shield, but it requires a lot of setup. It's hard to get onto the point with it, so you might as well go with a little bit more mobility. And having the Zarya and the potential for a grab is always going to be a good look.
Progi dives out from the side. That was beautiful. Out of my game, baits side effects into rotating into that side, and then Progi, he sees his opportunity, and in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion does not sleep tonight because it is Progi. It's the monkey.
He's definitely sleeping, maybe with the fishes because he died, but still.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Still though, out of my game, see, this is the flexibility that you have when you're running the dive goats composition. Even down members, everybody else is so strong that they can get on top of side effects once they're, you know, 4v5, 4v4. There's very little room that side effects can give. It's hard for them to back up with the Orisa. So now they are in turn going to swap to the Ryan Zarya version of goats.
And you know, like we talked about on Village, and like we saw on Village, side effects might just win this off of composition alone. What is Progi gonna do? He dives in, but if he dives in, he just gets stunned and by the Brigitte. And
this is also a free shatter potentially for Boger, but he does have to work up to it.
You know, he's got to be flexing those muscles on that Reinhardt. Show you why he goes to the gym every day, so we can swing that hammer and get 41% to that ultimate. But Frost will go down, unfortunately, so no Zarya for the side effects here, no bubbles. And you're seeing now they're getting kind of pinned in that doorway. That is what you not want to have happen to you when you push through there.
It's very difficult for side effects to get tons of meaningful damage done because the front line of Twals and Progear is so mobile. Once your Reinhardt gets on top of them, they just leap away. Who else are you going to be putting some damage in? As we saw from Cass's POV, he was across the chasm, right? It was very difficult for side effects to actually get on top of out of my game. They took so much damage, especially shield damage, before they actually got onto the objective. Out of my game, holding really easy here with 4 ultimates.
Yeah, and the reason out of my game did win that with this composition, which, you know, on paper, like I talked about, you know, not that good against this, is because they're defending. They don't have to approach, they just have to defend. And now you're going to see the knock-in. Boger into the pit again, and down falls Frost. 2 boop kills for out of my game will secure the bag for them here in this fight.
And may well secure the point. Look at this self-destruct force from Mete here. Out of my game, they still have 5 ults. They didn't need to use a single one, but that primal rage, and already 90% on the board.
Exactly, and it's ticking up. Only 7 seconds left for the side effect to touch the point. And what do they got in the bank? They only got the beat. They only got their support ultimates. And no! Boger into the pit again. And Chalky Milk makes him take a dip. and Boger will be gone again at the start of this fight, and in goes the Graviton Surge from way fast, looking to finish everybody off. However, the refrag is there onto Progi. Out of my game, they do secure that next kill from Twills onto Frost there, and Chalky Milk here flying up top, looking for these boop kills, trying to find more of the environmentals, as well as keeping this team alive. Boger so low into the pit again. Chalky Milk is not letting him find anything, and that will secure it for Out of My Game. They take it 2-1, but it was still quite a close Nepal.
Dude, oh my goodness, Chalky Milk. I mean, I would, like, we got to start like a counter or something. Just like, how many boops does this guy get? I counted 4, right? And that's insane. And once Out of My Game got control of that point, they did not give it up at all. And Side Effects, you know, again and again, kind of just smashing their face into Out of My Game, you know, kind of going that same route. They gave the small room a try, which when you're running a Reinhardt, it is quite risky. You're so stationary, and there's very little, you know, self-agency that you have as that main tank. And then they just went down the stairs over and over again. There weren't really any meaningful ults to speak of for them to, you know, conclusively win a fight. And Out of My Game, they just played a really good, disciplined game and took that round.
Exactly. You know, when they were pushing through that small room there, you know, it's like the old song says, it's a small room after all, and you'll just get pinned in there by that defense, which is exactly what we saw happen. And again, we talked about it. Chalky Milk. What a fragger. What a player on that Lucio. I love to see it. I'm a Lucio main. I love Nepal. Boot people into that pit all the time. Make them go digging for that gold, because I'm not going to be bothered to go searching for it myself.
Yeah, and the thing with like boobs and just like self-destructs, and there's no counterplay, right? You either die or you don't die. And as a Reinhardt myself, I am more often than not on the receiving end. So screw all of you Lucio players out there. I'm just kidding. But yeah, Out of My Game again. Like, this team, we're coming into like week 2, right? And they're at they're very close. They're in the top 3 of the standings. And you know, as long as they continue to play a disciplined game against Side Effects, you know, they're probably going to do quite well. But the difficulty always is keeping yourself restrained, your mind in the game, you know, like it's like the Zach Galifianakis gif with, you know, all the calculations and stuff. It is a lot to, you know,
numbers.
It is a lot to keep track of, and it is easy to kind of lose focus potentially, especially when you feel like you ought to win this series. So that's what Out of My Game have to keep an eye out for.
Right. And, you know, the mental game, just as important as the mechanical game, right? Not only do you have to have the skills, but you got to have that mental fortitude to back it up, right? You got to keep your head in the game. You got to stay focused, like we talked about, because, again, oftentimes if you're not going to stay sharp, the enemy team, they're going to stay sharper than you, and then it's just going to see who has sharpened their blade enough times to come into this match and eventually win it out, right? Because there's all those mental skills. Ult tracking, right? That's a huge one. There's a reason why ult trackers are so valued, is because of the value that they bring to the team. And now we're gonna go to a bit of a classic here for our next map. If I'm not mistaken, I heard the sweet sounds of King's Row. Yes, I did.
Yeah, and Side Effects, we've seen that they're willing and very able to take advantage of those small openings. Great displacement boops from Kov. We saw the moment that Twalls got a little bit out of position, he got demeched, forced to use his self-destruct early. And so Side Effects are very well capable, and Out of My Game, they just got to stay on their toes.
Right. Now you're seeing their beautiful Omnic statue representing the harmony that humans and Omnics have after the great Omnic Wars. But hey, that's not going to stop anybody from headshotting Zenyatta's, and, you know, opposite of that, Zenyatta's headshotting everybody else, you know, Jonak. Cass definitely, you know, fill in those shoes, perhaps, maybe not quite, you know, those are very, very large shoes to fill, probably clowns.
Oh, those are Mondo huge shoes. They're like Shaquille O'Neal shoes, right? Size like what, 37 or something crazy?
Something crazy. They got to custom make them, right? But Cass, again, still a great player, has had consistently chances for a lot of the fights to counteract whatever the Side Effects want to throw at them. And, you know, it's not really that Side Effects are playing badly, because they aren't. They're playing this really well. It's just Out of My Game. Just, they're playing their game and they're playing it well.
Yeah, they're certainly elevating And Side Effects gonna just take a peek. You never quite know. I mean, actually, last season, NA Contenders, we saw a headshot kill straight out of spawn from a Widowmaker. So it's always worth a shot. But Side Effects, again, they want to play the long game. So they're gonna go for that Mirror Goats composition. So Frost on the Zarya, who has been performing quite well here, but one Graviton Surge does not a team fight win make. We gotta see that communication, gotta see that throughput damage from the rest of the team.
Now you see TwoLS here diving in, moving up onto the high ground, getting a little bit of that displacement damage with the booster before dropping back down. And now Side Effect seems to be controlling the high ground for the time being. Gives Meta a great angle to rain down some damage, and the first kill will come through onto Progi there. Again, you got the damage in the front and the damage in the back there from Medehan. What are you going to do? Progi, which way are you going to turn your shield? No matter what, you're taking damage, so eventually that's going to all wear you down, and he will be removed from the fight. He will be respawning, and you will have a chance to get back, but with TwoLS popped out of the mech shortly to be finished off here, maybe. No, he's able to get the remech. Surprisingly, Out of My Game has a chance for a recontest here. They're going to toss in the bomb, though. Medehan trying to find the kills, and Progi, again, has to turn to block it and will go down. Shatter invested, as well as the Transcendence and the rally from Out of My Game to no avail for them. Side Effects will take the point once they clean up aisle 10. Or point A.
Yes, Boger with the BOGO. Buy one, get one free. 2 kills with 1 charge. You don't see that too often. And Side Effects, right out of the gate, again, coming out so strong and really pushing their advantage here. Oh, man. Frost, he already has the grab. He's just trying to maintain energy at this point as Side Effects, they push forward, and really good displacement once again, this time from Mete to go and scoop up Progi, push him away from the rest of the team. That Reinhardt dying first was the reason that Side Effects was able to take point A in their very first push.
Listen, I don't think I'm mistaken, but I don't think the payload goes idiot miles per hour, because we're not at 3rd point right now. We're still in the 2nd Streets phase of King's Row, but what an aggressive hold there from Side Effects, but they might be paying for that. Medehan gonna be demeched here. Will he be killed, though, or will the peel come in from Cave to save his life? Yes, saving Private Mede, and now in comes the Graviton Surge. The beat is there from Chalky Milk, however, to save everybody's lives, but Frost drops down. Sab not quite quick enough on the Zoom Yada to heal him up, and Out of My Game will get a quick wipe on Side Effects to, you know, take the momentum back in their favor.
Alas, Side Effects, they just didn't have that perfect artist touch to know when enough was enough. Mete just overextended a little bit too much, and Out of My Game, you know, smelling blood in the water, went and got that D-Mech onto the D.Va. Really well played by them, as we see putting a stop at to the payload and trying to hold right here at the choke.
Ooh, in comes the charge as well from Progi. They're perhaps looking for a pin onto Boger to facilitate that. Whoa, what a big shatter that was, interrupting my train of thought. And Spokes is going to go down himself there. Progi finding a big shatter there to just single-handedly win that fight. Oh, and they killed it. They can't even get back and spawn. Oh, Out of My Game. How brutal.
We saw a little bit of this earlier today if anybody was tuning into the
Don't
Overwatch
remind me. Please
League.
don't.
What is this? Selfless, catch me and my boy. Spawn camping right now, but Out of My Game, they're not going to pull a Mete. They want to back off, make sure that they can take a better fight, not just the first fight they have, because they know they don't really have too many ultimates, but Cass is trans.
And in comes the bomb, giving Side Effects a little bit of space, but it's not enough. And the Graviton Surge tossed into the backline. Beat will keep everybody nice and healthy. Way fast falls, and so does Progi. Sav finding 2, and Medehan finding another. Sav finding 3 in that fight. This man, big fragger.
Oh, definitely a Zenyatta you would want to add to your backline. And Wayfast, he tried to get a little bit something done. I don't know. It would be so great to have that Graviton Surge for the actual last point B defense, but he thought he saw an opportunity, right? What's the best defense is just a good offense, right? What do you have to defend when everybody is dead? But Side Effects, they are not going to be taking this lying down, kind of trying to come through here. Frost still extremely highly charged, looking for that good grab position. Doesn't want it to get...
Oh, Bash Shatter. The Bash Shatter comes in. Olu is knocked down, and the Graviton Surge is there as well from the Side Effects. Looking to sweep up Out of My Game off their feet. Payload only 2.25 meters to go. Both Transcendences have worn off, and in goes the Shatter. Out of My Game, 3 members knocked down. Boger built up yet another one so quickly. That's the power you get when you're swinging into that Graviton Surge. TwoLS does find one in the name of Sab there, but it's alright. He's already used his Transcendence in this fight. Side Effects still has the man advantage. They just need to finish up on way fast here, but TwoLS might have turned the tide with the kill onto Boger. Medehan tries to find something with the bomb, but just can't do it. And Chalky Milk, great survivability on this Lucio right now. And way fast as well. Graviton Surge available, tossing it onto the point, trying to find the kills onto the Brigitte and the D.Va. And Out of My Game, they stabilize somehow.
Yeah, it was a close thing right there, Rien. You saw Chalky Milk throwing in the sound barrier. You had Cass throwing in the trance as well. Wavefast had to use the grab right there. Out of My Game invested so heavily in that last second point B defense that if they had given it up, they would be staring down the barrel of the approaching payload with no ultimates to their name. Right now, they bought themselves a quick reprieve, but Frost is barreling down on them with that trance at the ready. 100% charge, too.
Goodness gracious, Frost is so good at this energy management. Both Zaryas. I mean, really, every single player is just so good. I can't talk about them enough, but you're going to see Cass there using that Transcendence to nullify Frost's Graviton Surge. But now, side effects, they still have their support ultimates up. However, Kav will go down to Olu's whip shots, so no sound barrier for the side effects. Will be able to roll out rather quickly, but that is not a situation you want to be in if you are the side effects, because Wavefast is just going to move in and melt everybody down, and there's nobody to peel for side effects, so you can just chase him down.
A little bit awkward right there. Boger trying to push forward, but Out of My Game splitting side effects team, and Boger forced to tactically reposition himself all the way into respawn. So Out of My Game once more able to hold right there just using Cass's trance. So that means Chalky Milk's going to come back in on that sound barrier. Out of My Game haven't really given up their ultimate advantage ever since point A.
All right, in comes the rally from both the Brigittas and Progi. Looking for the shatter, but so is Boger. It's going to be which Reinhardt will find it, but first the Graviton Surge game. The charge comes in onto Boger, trying to find the kill, and it will. The pin, Progi takes Boger for a ride, and it's not the kind of ride that is fun. It's the kind of ride that ends in your death. And Out of My Game, just off the back of that one Rein kill, again, Progi can just find that shatter because there is no one to block it, but now he's got to use his shield to block the shatter. However, side effects, Frost coming up big in this fight, hitting the Grand Slam 100 energy is not something to mess around with, and Frost just proved it, single-handedly winning that fight for side effects. That was crazy.
A little bit awkward. Progi was able to get the pin kill onto Boger and take him away from the LOS of that sound barrier, but but you know, it can just turn around on you so quickly. You have to remember risk reward. You are getting that kill, but that means that the rest of your team is without your shield for the entire duration of the fight. And now, Out of My Game on the back foot, they only have this trance side effects, and they have a minute to try and make this happen.
A minute to win it. Out of My Game, they're playing so aggressively here, and already they've gotten 2 kills. They just barrel into the side effects, and it seems like they were not prepared. They did not have the proper equipment, the proper padding, perhaps, to cushion against the GOAT's blow.
Side effects was like, oh my god, guys, we did it. Oh no, now what? Out of My Game, they are well prepared, though. Trans still in hand. Olu pops that rally, and Out of My Game probably just going to win this right off the back of that.
Oh my goodness. You see how aggressive Out of My Game is getting on this defense. Earlier we saw it. They're holding at spawn, and now they're holding at spawn again. They're not even letting side effects get near the point, so it's just going to be rolling backwards all the while.
Kav is probably going to have to pop this Transcendence just to get side effects close to the payload, and that means that they're not going to have that online when Wavefast drops that trance. Side effects really in an uphill battle right now. They need to buy a little bit more time to get those defensive ultimates up just so that they can sustain through this long push, because the payload still hasn't made it past this first corner.
Right. Progi with the shatter, but into the Graviton Surge again. Going to be the first ultimate used, and Wavefast just wipes the floor with him. Sab's Transcendence comes in, but it's just a little bit too late, and Twolz' bomb will blow the rest of them to bits. Out of My Game with a very nice hold here in the third phase of King's Row. Couldn't quite get it in second, but hey, you know, it's the thought that counts, perhaps.
Better late than never is always the case with the defense, and a beautiful displacement boop from Chalky Milk right there to allow Twolz' self-destruct to find that kill. And side effects, you know, they certainly had moments when they looked very hot, but it must have been comms, maybe just a little bit of lack of preparation. Out of My Game, they always had a chance to catch their breath, regroup for that full 6-man defense, and they always seem to have time to build up to those ultimates too, which, you know, side effects, they just weren't quite punishing Out of My Game as quickly as they could have.
They were hot, then they were cold, they were yes, then they were no, they were in, then they were out, they were up, then they were down.
Wrong and you're right.
Yeah, there we go.
Black and
now we're gonna see the swaps coming in. Side effects going to be on their defense, hoping to hold first point for as long as humanly, or I could say humanly, but let's say goatsonly possible. And then Out of My Game, of course, on the attack, want to take that as fast as ghostly possible. I don't know if that's a word, but hey, we're pioneering all sorts of things today.
Boo! I'm just kidding. Hey, if as the linguists say, if you can get your meaning across, it's a word. So,
Exactly.
out of my game. Ooh, it is going to be curious if they pull out these Sombra Genji side effects. There's not too many surprises here. They are going to be putting Mete on the Sombra. He's actually played this hero before in the past, but that means that with no diva there, if Out of My Game see this and invest in an Ana, as many teams have, it's going to probably just be free bio nades all day long. So side effects really have to be watching their positioning and not leaving themselves vulnerable to that ability, because Out of My Game, they've been playing amazingly so far.
Exactly. And you know, the thing is there, Out of My Game, I couldn't decide, you know, if this map really have something to do with time travel. Earlier we saw, again, how aggressive side effects was getting, pushing Out of My Game back to their own spawn when the payload was so far away. And now Out of My Game, we're going back in time instead. And we saw a dive for just a brief moment there, but no. They go back to goats. They move back into the present. Speaking of the present, you're going to see them pushing through the hotel, the good old Alderwood there, checking in, but apparently it's a one-star hotel. Bedbugs everywhere. They're going to check right out and move on to the point. Side effects backing up, but just a little bit. Boger pushing in, getting aggressive, and finds the kill on a Progi, able to sneak that one out right from under the noses of Out of My Game. And now, and again, Out of My Game, just going to crumble without the Reinhardt.
Yeah, we talk often about Boger's positioning, especially earlier on in trials. It was often, you know, suspect, and he was one of the first players to fall in these fights. But right now, Progi seems to be, you know, trying to do maybe a little bit too much. Press W a little too hard, and Out of My Game aren't able to pump enough resources into their Rhine to keep him up and healthy. And once again, side effects this time, they get a reprieve because their win condition is getting a very early Transcendence. Mete, or an early Transcendence or an early EMP. Then they're going to have both an offensive and defensive chance. So Mete about 80%, Sob, a lot closer. Out of My Game, they need a clean fight.
And there it is. Sob has built up that Transcendence. Medahan extremely close to the EMP, but they're going to open things up with the rally to push him in, but way fast will put an end to Spokes' rule on that Brigitte, knocking him out. But the EMP, it's big. Catches 5 members, but it doesn't catch the most crucial one of Cass, and he's able to use his Transcendence in time. However, Progi's still able to be bursted down. Out of My Game. What are you going to do? You got to back out. You don't want to waste too much time here.
Yes, but the next fight is going to be much better for Out of My Game. They know they've drawn 2 of those ultimates out from side effects, and with the defensive spawns as far away as they are, Out of My Game, they probably only need 1 pick here in order to get things going.
And they're going to try to do just that with the Graviton Surge onto Boger, and the bomb is tossed in as well. Right into the backline, pops Boger's shield, and he's got nothing to defend against that Earth Shatter from Progi, knocking Frost right back to that defensive spawn that is so far away. And Out of My Game looking to take this. However, Spokes is there. Whip shot kill on a Progi, 5v5 on the point. And because of those, the long time between those kills, side effects will be able to reset here, and that's why they're playing aggressive now. But Out of My Game re-engaging. Progi right back in action there, and you look at how aggressive Olu is right now in the back line, swinging away into the side effects. Frost not able to return in time. He will go down here to Twills at the end of the fight. 3 minutes and 33 seconds. That's not a bad time, Bang.
Not at all. And again, a wholesale overextension from side effects. You have to remember that when you're running this GOATS composition, there's not actually a ton of healing to go around. You have the Tickle heal from the Lucio AoE, and then the overtime heal from the Harmony Orb of a Zenyatta. So if side effects suddenly take a ton of damage, especially if multiple members take a ton of damage, they're probably just going to die. There's almost nothing that you can do sans a big ultimate, which side effects will have.
Oh, and in comes the Graviton Surge from Out of My Game. Medahan there was looking for that EMP, but, you know, he's just going to take one look at that, and he's going to say nope, and he's going to dip right out of there as fast as he possibly can.
Exactly. That was a very quick about face. Did not like what he saw at all. And side effects, they still have one more chance to hold before. But, they see him. They're searching right now. This is actually extremely dangerous. If Mete dies, side effects are likely not going to be able to hold. Oh, man. Medahan. He goes down there. They were able to find him out.
The alert phase from Out of My Game was just too strong there. If I was not mistaken, I believe Krogi just might have thrown out a Fire Strike and did find that, or if it was calculated, I'm not sure. I'm not, of course, in the brains of these players, but Out of My Game will take it very decisively here. They just got to push it a few more meters, Ham.
Yeah, Progi, this is a great time to push super far forward. Get him with the Shatter very early on. He's just spy checking right now, looking for that Sombra.
He was able to touch. Boger comes in, drops the EMP, drops the hammer. And is it going to be enough? Progi does get that kill, and now side effects, their members are falling very, very quickly. Progi tosses down the Shatter, trying to find kills, and Chalky Milk will do just that with Boger removed. Zab has to use the Transcendence to keep the team alive. Bubble comes in, does a Spokesies to keep him alive for a brief moment, but it is not enough. And Out of My Game, they're up 2-0 in this series. They are looking good.
Oh, it was almost inevitable that they were going to be able to take King's Row after they got that staggered kill onto Mete. That is, you just can't make that mistake. It seems, like, oh, I tossed my translocator, I'm going to go behind the team. No problem. Who's going to be checking all the way back there? But it could well have been a Fire Strike that found him out. And with that, the rest of his team just, didn't have that backline support. Because when you invest in a Sombra, that means that inevitably your front line and your peel ability is going to be reduced, right? So that means that you're trusting that your Sombra is going to be producing a ton of value by, distracting the enemy team, splitting their attention between the front and the back, and unfortunately you can't do that when you're dead.
Nope, you cannot. And you see